Okay, it looks like we're about ready. So good evening and thank you for joining us tonight to hear more about HSDC. My name is Jane Golds and I'm Director of Marketing Admissions and I'm one of your hosts for this evening. So to start off this evening, we'd like to begin with a presentation from our Principal and Chief Executive, Mike Gaston. So I'm going to hand you over to that now. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Thank you for coming along virtually to find out more about HSDC. My name is Mike Gaston and I'm the Principal and CEO here at the college. And I'm delighted to introduce you to this presentation before handing you over to some of my colleagues. Tonight is about the opportunities and support available to your son or daughter on their vocational programme here at the college, whether that be at our Alton or Southdown's campus. So why choose HSDC? Well, we work closely with a huge number of employers and are constantly developing our curriculum to reflect the world of work. Indeed, there are times that we would sometimes say that HSDC stands for helping students discover careers. We led the way for the introduction of T-levels in September 2020 and have continued to grow the offer for those starting in September 2022. These courses, alongside our other vocational programs, give our students a unique opportunity to build the employability skills and expertise that businesses are looking for. We've continued to invest in our facilities, aiming to provide young students with a realistic working environment for our vocational programs. Be that working in a commercial restaurant, using industry standard machinery equipment in our engineering centre, or indeed using the latest technology in digital games design. It's also true that we pride ourselves in supporting individual students in their ambition and supporting them to reach their goals and fulfil their dreams, whether that's to progress to higher education or an apprenticeship or indeed direct into employment. We can offer your son or daughter a first-class education. That's all from me for this evening. Don't forget we've got a live Q&A at the end of the event. Please send in your questions via the chat box throughout this presentation. I look forward to seeing you in person soon, but for now, thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, just as Mike said, please remember to put any questions you have this evening in the Q&A box. So at the bottom of the screen on Zoom, you'll see a little box that says Q&A. Any questions at all this evening, please drop those in there. We've got a live Q&A at the end as well, but my team will be filling in responses to your questions in the chat box. So please do feel free to use that. Now I'm going to hand you over to Ash Groot and Paul Carter, who are our assistant principals for vocational curriculum. Over to you both.
Thank you, Jane. I'm just going to share my screen. Hopefully everyone can see that okay. So I'm Ashley Groot and I'm joined by my colleague Paul Carter. We're the two assistant principals for vocational and technical education at the Southdowns and Alton campuses. So I'm going to start off just by giving you a bit of information about what we're going to cover tonight. So some of the things that we're going to tell you about, we're going to talk to you about why HSDC is the right place for your young person to be studying at. We're going to give you examples and show you what the timetables are like at the two campuses. We're going to cover the study skills that students will develop while they're at college. We'll look briefly at the enrolment process and the welcome week and how that works. And we'll also talk about transport and how to get to college. And finally, how we keep you informed as parents. So Paul and I are going to alternate between the slides. So I'm going to hand you over to Paul for the next slide.
Thanks, Ash. Good evening, everybody. Yes, my name is Paul. I'm the other assistant principal for the vocational and technical curriculum. So what I'm going to talk about is why choose HSDC. So some of the stuff we've talked about here is what think makes us stand out and what we think makes it a fantastic place for your young person to come and visit. So for us, it's all about having a welcoming place to study, having an environment that's inclusive, an environment that's supportive. We have lots and lots of facilities on campus where students can kind of spend time in social groups and lots of really outstanding learning spaces. But for us, it's about that first day going forward from that first interview right through to when the students graduate. They feel that it's a welcoming place, whatever campus they're on. There'll always be someone here greeting them with a smile and there to kind of support them with any concerns they have. We pride ourselves on our outstanding success. You'll see an image there from a couple of years ago when we were allowed to kind of have students on campus during graduation. So the students are always, the success of students is always at the forefront for us. It's why we do what we do. It's why we all became teachers to start with, was to see that success and that journey of the young people we look after. So we really want to promote our outstanding success, our progressions, whether that would be to university, to the Russell Group universities, or to a very bespoke university that supports students in a particular choice, whether that's onto degree apprenticeships as a new exciting route for young people, whether that's onto a standard apprenticeship, whether that's into a training program or into work. We're able to support the students with success each and every year. We pride ourselves in the progression the students make, and we have everything in the campus to support students with those decisions right up until receiving those grades, and when we kind of celebrate their success moving forward. It's all for us about futures. Everything's about the journey. We're able to really showcase the students' journey and the futures they aspire to. So we find out very early from the students what their aspirations are, where it is they want to go, and we can fully support them with those ideas. And there's so many different opportunities now for students. So it's all about that journey from coming from GCSEs and secondary school, that integration into college, and then where that next journey takes them. It's all about providing every student with an opportunity to progress and support their future. And as Mike said there, it's helping students discover careers. There's a lot of work done with local employers, local universities, lots and lots of partners are here to support the students. One of the big things we've been doing over the last few years is innovating and modernising our campuses. You'll see some of the examples at the bottom there, which is one of those is our hospital ward for our T-level in health and care. To the right-hand side, you'll see one of our gaming and creative digital studios. So the college has invested heavily, along with support from the local enterprise partnerships in the Solent and the M3, to really upgrade our facilities, to create industry standard equipment and software. So students in gaming will be using the latest software and technology, the latest opportunities within health, within engineering, within sport, within motor vehicle, within catering, hair and beauty. So one of the things we've been trying to do is create professional environments and modernize the campus to bring it up. And a lot of our buildings now are designed, and our classrooms are designed with employer partners. So we have, and I'm sure Ash will talk a little bit about this when he talks about T-levels, we work very closely with employers to create facilities and spaces that are that really enhance the learning experience and give students the opportunity to feel like they are going to work in that industry and gain the skills they need to going forward. So for us, it's about a welcoming place to study, an exciting curriculum and an exciting environment for students to work in. Thank you, Ash, back to you.
So, like I said, we're going to show you what the timetables are like for the two campuses. So this is the Alton timetable for obviously the Alton campus. So this timetable is designed very much with a focus on both A-level and vocational studies. So you can see here a few key points. So there are 3 main sessions a day, and students will also have a tutorial or independent study on some of these days. So where the student might not have that on certain days, they might have a longer lunch. Day, as you can see, starts at 10 o'clock and finishes at 4:15. Minimizes what we call trapped time. So students have something in each of these sessions. Students will typically be into 3 to 4 days a week. And on that 5th day, T-level students would go out on placement. Some students might be studying English and maths. But as you can see, it's quite a condensed timetable, and it really maximizes students' ability to sort of study and work while they're on campus without them having to hang around too much between lectures. So I'm going to pass you over to Paul for the Southdown campus.
Thanks, Ash. And one thing to add as well is one of the projects we're doing this year is to look for more independent study spaces for students. We're doing a little project at the moment in college in conjunction with the students to find some more spaces within our social areas where students can study some slightly quieter areas. So that will again will help with independent study areas. So one of the big projects we've been doing this year is a review of the Southdowns timetable. This year we've had all of the lunch breaks at the same time, and it's caused a little bit of issue around everyone having the opportunity to get some lunch, and it caused a little bit of overcrowding. So we adjusted it mid-year, but what Ash and I have done with the student union and lots of colleagues is we've redesigned the Southdowns timetable, and I'm just going to go through some of the kind of highlights. We're still keeping with the 9:30 start and the 4:30 finish. We start slightly earlier and finish slightly later than the A-level timetables, a bit more to map the way of working with a lot of our courses in the vocational technical area being industry based, but also it allows for the buses to travel to Southdowns first and then on to Havant so everyone can get in on time. So we're still keeping the start time to lessons to on the hour, on the half hour, but what we are changing this year is the size of the sessions, and this is to map into the size of the units being delivered. So a lot of vocational courses have either 60, 90 or 120 credit units, and they map into a certain amount of time, delivery time per week. So we're going to be able to then give the students longer for their bigger units, their practical sessions, and also it just allows us to be much more flexible with the timetable to create better timetables for the students, to create less, as Ash mentioned, trap time. So we've done this in conjunction with the student union, and we met with them to go through it, and this is something they were really pushing for, to give a little bit more flexibility to the timetable. So this supports vocational and technical delivery. We're able to run longer practical sessions in such things as catering, hair and beauty, animal care, sport, engineering, some of the areas that need media that might want to do some big practical sessions, but it allows us to run these at much more flexible times. We've staggered the lunch now, so students will have either a lunch at 11:30, 12:30 or 1:30. This allows students much more opportunity to gain time to get some food, to meet up with friends, to socialise, and we don't have the big, large sort of amount of students all descending on the cafeterias at the same time. We're also improving all of our kind of cafeteria facilities as well. This year we'll be bringing in some more grab and go shops, some more kiosks, some more facilities, so that will really help as well. So anytime there is a long session, so we wouldn't expect students to have a 2-hour session followed by an 1.5-hour session without breaks and things like that. So timetable breaks, 15 minutes to half an hour, depending on the length of the session, will all be timetabled in. So the students will always have time for a comfort break or travel time between sessions and going before. And as with Alton as well, it's usually around 3 to 4 days to allow for any English and maths, work experience, or industry placements. So this has all been done in conjunction with feedback and learner voice from the students, and Ash and I have taken this on board and worked with all the teams to make sure we give the students a better timetable for allow them to study, and again removing that trap time, making sure they're not hanging around in between classes. But we are bringing in more spaces, more areas. We have got a brand new space opening on our first floor at Southdowns, which will have a large student hub, and that again will be a space where students will be able to kind of socialize and work during the day. So that will be fantastic when that opens in September as well. So yeah, so a really, we think an innovative redesign that will support students' outcomes and again to give them a better time. Ash.
Okay, so starting at HSDC. So I'm going to give you a bit of information now about what students can be doing now to make sure they hit the ground running, and then also how the GCSE results and enrolment works. So first of all, getting ahead work, this is now live on the website. So this is designed, like I said, to give the students that chance to really hit the ground running when they start with us in September. So each course has prepared subject-specific resources, including things like videos to watch, reading and preparatory work that they can do, mini projects to complete. So this is a great way for students to get a head start, and so they don't find the beginning of college too daunting, I suppose, you know, so they can really get to grips with what the subject is that they're going to be studying, and it helps them get in the right mindset for September. Okay, then the results day. So GCSE results day is a little bit later this year, so it's the 25th of August. And we will start our enrolment process on the afternoon of the same day. So once students' GCSE grades are released, we can start enrolling those learners. So in terms of what happens at enrolment, so students will come into the college, they'll meet members of their teaching teams, they'll go through their GCSE results, we'll check this is still the right course for them, this is what they want to do. And then the students will go through a route around the college, so they'll get ID badges, they'll sort out transport, they'll sign up for team sports, all sorts of opportunities that they can talk to staff about whether it's the right course for them and how the course is going to work. There might be discussions around equipment or measuring up for certain items of PPE, things like that they might need for their course, or buying course hoodies. If the students don't get the grades they hope for, there's also support on hand for students to help them find the right next steps for them. And it's a chance to change courses as well. So if a student's had a change of heart through the summer and they think that this isn't maybe what they want to do and they want to do something else, there's lots of opportunity for students to talk to staff about different and alternative programs as well. So that's what will happen at enrolment. And then from then, students will move into the welcome weeks and the induction, and then they'd start their program with us in early September.
Okay, back to me. So one of the key activities and key events we do is what we call our welcome week. This will be the first week of September from the 5th. So all students will be in that week, and I'll talk you through what it involves. So the idea of welcome week is the students will start off in their tutor group. So they'll get to meet everybody, they'll get to meet their tutor, and during that welcome week, they'll learn all about how the college works. The idea would be by the end of the welcome week, they've met all of their teachers, they know where all of their rooms are, they've been inducted. We do a really nice induction program, teaching the students about how to stay safe, all the opportunities they have to, and you'll hear a little bit about that from Charlie, our head of student services, a little bit later. So we'll introduce the students to Google for Education. So HSDC is a Google for Education centre. So a lot of the courses are run through the Google for Education package, which is completely free. So the students will get enrolled onto the Google Classroom for each of their courses. They'll find out about how to access their printing credits. They'll be taken on a tour. You'll find out exactly where everything is. So it's key. Students are always really keen to find out where their classrooms are, if they're moving between buildings, but also where the social spaces are. We have Starbucks on each of our campuses. We have cafeterias on our campuses. We have gyms. We have other kind of learning spaces, independent study spaces. So the students will have the opportunity to walk around. We'll always have lots of help desks open during this welcome week, where you'll be able to double check that your timetable is correct. If you've got any questions around your course, if you decide your course is not what you hoped it would be, the idea in the welcome week is to really kind of make sure you're where you should be. You know where your English and maths classes are if you're doing those. You know where the Health and Wellbeing Centre is. You know where reception is. You know where our progress coaches are. We have progress coaches who support students throughout the year. They look after a set area and everything. So on both of our campuses, we have set areas for each faculty. So a lot of the time the students will be in a science building, an engineering building, a creative media building. So they'll get to know all those kind of areas. So if a student does want to change course, the first thing they would do is talk to their tutor and just say, I think I've made a mistake. Absolutely fine. We always encourage students to kind of come forward and right course, right student. If you felt it was for you, but after the first welcome week, you're actually thinking, oh, I don't think it is for me. Absolutely fine. We want the students to feel confident and comfortable to talk to their tutor. And then what we normally do is we have little kind of catch-ups across the week where the, students can pop down to our careers team, who will arrange for them to talk to a teacher from another course. We can make sure there's space on the course, that they meet the entry criteria, that if there's any equipment or anything that needs purchasing for that course, we can check all those kind of things out. So they shouldn't worry. The idea of that first week is to do all of the kind of key induction so everyone feels safe at campus, everyone knows where they're going to go, everyone knows what they're going to do. We get you involved with the Google Classroom, and there'll be lots of fun activities. And another thing as well is the getting ahead work that Ash has just mentioned. It's really important that we'll be reviewing that getting ahead work as part of the welcome week. So the course teachers will be asking the students about the work they've done, and we'll be reviewing it and using that as a kind of really nice introduction task to make sure that the students feel confident, they pick the right course, and they understand the kind of areas around it. So lots of opportunities to visit all our spaces and lots of opportunities to ask for help and guidance. But the idea is this first week is all about settling in and making sure everything's right. And then when we kick into teaching in the week after. This is a really important week for us, and I think it really helps the students to settle in. Ash.
Okay, transport. So this is a question that often asked, how do I get to the relevant campus? So firstly, there's a dedicated page on our website. You can see there where you can find that. And this shows the different ways to travel to college. In terms of what transport links and who do we work with? So we have specialist transport that we work with companies like Stagecoach, and this means that the students have got a clear information about how to get to college on time. In terms of how close the bus stops are, so we've got bus stops at the Southdown campus, which is outside of the college. We've actually got a bus stop inside the Alton campus where the bus stops. On our website, there's information about travel and finance and how we can provide support. So things like college bought bus passes, contribution towards train passes, and so on and so forth. And like I said, we work with Stagecoach, we work with Network Rail, and our students can get to college easily. Bus times are very much tailored so we can get students to college on time. So there's lots of support around transport and lots of information that's available. Go to that link on the site, and all of the information I've discussed and a lot more will be available there. Okay. Over to you, Paul.
Yep. Okay, if you can click through to the drop downs for me. So as I previously mentioned around Google Classroom, one of the key things we like to do with students when we first start is to help them during that kind of welcome week, is help them get an idea of what commitment is required and what kind of study skills they will need. So how it's going to differ from school is that there is going to be more of an onus put on the students to be self-directed with guidance and that kind of stuff, but they've really got to start getting into that ethic of kind of dedicating some time each week, because they're not going to be in for 5 days a week from 9:30 till 4:30. They're going to be in 3.5 to 4 days. They'll have some time to do some work experience, to study additional qualifications should they need to. But the idea is we want them to put some of the onus on their own, developing their own study skills going forward. So this again revolves around Google Classroom, the ability to access all the work provided. So any additional work set by the teachers will be on the Google Classroom. The teachers are able to kind of check on how students are doing. They can submit their work through this. So it's a really innovative platform to support the students when it comes to study skills. But there's going to be times when there'll be some lessons where there'll be explanations going around the units and explanations around the assignment briefs. The students will then have time to complete some of their assignment work within vocational areas. So obviously some vocational areas have assessments like exam assessments. Some are all fully coursework. It really depends on the course. But they'll need to build those skills, and the teachers will help them build those skills as we go along, going forward. So what study skills we need for studying vocational courses? Well, this is going to change. I've seen in the Q&A some people popping in questions around equipment and things like that. So anyone who's applied for a specific course with equipment will get information at enrolment about the things that you will need. And enrolment should be, will be well before you start, that kind of stuff. So be very clear on what you need and that kind of stuff. But again, for our curriculum, Ash and I, is a lot around vocational skills. There's a lot around skills in developing technical ability in certain subjects. In whatever subject you're doing, you'll be building technical skills. But this is all reinforced and all backed up by the theoretical side of the subjects. Yes, they'll be doing lots of practicals, lots of activities to support their developing their technical skills. But the study skills are all around being able to be positive, self-directed, meeting deadlines. A lot of areas within, when we're trying to teach students the skills needed for the industry, it's about timekeeping, it's about meeting deadlines, it's about communication. So there's a lot of work around the softer skills needed for the workplace. But the idea is, again, we will support students with how to be organized, how to plan their work. And they'll always have the opportunity in one-to-ones with their tutor, an opportunity to talk to the progress mentors and progress coaches around how they can support them with action plans. We can help them with planning and bringing stuff in together and going forward as well. I think it's also important to think about all the extracurricular things that you can do as well. And we have a package called Be Extraordinary, and the students will be encouraged to pick up additional activities where they can to enhance their skills, to enhance all their areas. So we do have Be Active, Be Adventurous, Be Employable, Be Involved. So there's loads of opportunities for students through their tutorial to get involved in such areas as volunteering, helping out, lots of societies and clubs, Duke of Edinburgh's, the Combined Cadet Force. There's loads of opportunities to build those additional skills alongside developing study skills. But the key in that first week is going to be getting the students to understand the dedication they need and the self-directed study. The students that really succeed are the ones that can really organise themselves and make sure they're putting in that study time during the week, so that when they come to their practical fun sessions, whether that be in hair and beauty or engineering, that they're prepared and they've done the pre-work and they're keeping on top of everything. So it's really important that we set out what's expected of them, but there's a real key support system through Google Classroom and the tutors that will help them. Ash.
Thanks, Paul. So just moving from that, how do we keep you informed as parents? So firstly, each student, as Paul just mentioned, is allocated a tutor. So that is the first port of call for student support. They're the staff that students have weekly contact with, and they're the people that will be supporting your young person through the college process, basically. Each student will also be allocated a progress mentor. So their role is to support the tutors and the students. So they're allocated to different departments. They're available for students to drop into and talk to at any time. And their role is very much to support the student progress whilst they're here at college. We also have a system called Pro Portal. You may have heard of this. It's very similar probably to what you've experienced at school. So this is something that both students and parents can access, and it has things like timetables, reports about progress, and other information there as well. And the other way we keep you informed, so we have parents, like traditional sort of parents' evenings. These are online, but these are opportunities where you can discuss student progress with us. You'll be able to book slots and talk about the main course. You can talk about English and maths, talk to the tutors and see how your young person's progressing and how things are going. And it's also the chance to sort of ask questions and keep in touch about progress and for us to keep you informed. So you can see there's lots of opportunity for us to be able to keep you up to date with your young person's progress. But the other thing is, if you did want to, you can always make contact as well. You can drop your the tutor an email and they could give you an update. So there's, like I said, there's lots of ways in which we keep you informed during the academic year. So that is everything that Paul and I wanted to share. If there are things that we haven't covered that you hope to find out tonight, then please make sure you drop that into the Q&A so that we can provide you with that information. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, both. And Paul and Ash will be joining us a little bit later at the live Q&A. But now it's time to move on to the next presentation. And this presentation is a recording because Charlie couldn't unfortunately be here in person this evening. Now there is a slight hiss in the recording, so please bear with us on the sound. You may have to turn up your sound slightly, so apologies for that. It came through with the recording. But now I'd like to hand you over to Charlie Miller, who is our Head of Student Progress. Thank you very much.
Good evening and welcome to this part of the presentation where we look at the Student Progress team. So the Student Progress team are made up of a Health and Safeguarding Coordinator, stroke RGM, Student Progress Mentors who are curriculum based and attached to an area, a looked after Student Administrator who is based in the hub and is student facing, a looked after Student Coordinator who is based at the Southdown campus but coordinates and supports our looked afters and care leavers across all the campuses. And we will also have campus-based counsellors as well. So what we expect from our students to ensure that they are successful, 100% attendance, and if you can't attend, then please notify us. A commitment to achieving your targets. These will be discussed and agreed with you in the first few weeks of college. This does, of course, include completing homework, so 5 hours a week per A level, or at least 10 hours for a vocational programme. Working at or above your target grade. Exemplary behaviour. We are preparing students to behave as they would in the workplace, showing respect for others at all times and wearing lanyards. We also request, where possible, that young people do not work more than 20 hours a week. 9 out of 10 students who are spending up to 20 hours a week earning money can be detrimental for their studies. So what health and wellbeing support do we offer at the college? We offer emotional support for students and young people who are feeling stressed or anxious. If you have an ongoing issue in college or even outside of college, you can come and speak to us and we will direct you in the right direction or give you support. Ask for a referral to our college counselling service. We also have a sexual health clinic which runs on the college site every week. This is in conjunction with the NHS and they can provide free advice, testing and contraception. We have really strong links with a number of other agencies, including iTalk, Off the Record, and we liaise with CEDIAS, police and social services. We have information and contact details for Parks, Mind and Beat, to name just a few. We support our young carers, young parents, looked after students and anyone with a protected characteristic that may need further support from us whilst completing college. In terms of the support available, your step one, if your young person needs some support, is to speak to their tutor if they're not at any immediate risk and they feel safe. If they want some support with reducing anxiety, they can access COOF, which is our online counselling service and has lots of amazing self-help resources. Step 3, if a young person is still feeling overwhelmed, they can email their student progress mentor, who they will meet within the first week or two of college, but be given their contact details within induction week. Or they can email wellbeing@hsdc.ac.uk to request a one-to-one meeting. Student progress mentors will prioritise students in crisis, and please do email them to make an appointment. So step 4, for young people who need urgent help, who don't feel safe, they can speak to one of our safeguarding leads at college. You can find us based in or around the hub. All conversations are kept confidential and we will not tell parents unless we feel that the young person is at risk and is under the age of 18. The safeguarding coordinators are campus based, so you have Emma on the Alton campus, Mel at the Havant campus and Julie and Mary who share a job role on the Southdown campus. So Careers is embedded into our curriculum and throughout tutorials. We have a number of resources such as Future You, delivered by a team of qualified guidance advisors, ensuring the development of careers and employability skills. Through Careers and tutorial, we offer a number of help such as one-to-one, drop-in clinics, careers events, course choices, work experience, applying to HE, gap years, apprenticeships and CV writing. You can rely on support from your health and wellbeing team for many different situations, including welfare issues, physical problems, mental health, bereavement, sexual health, safeguarding or caring for someone. So please drop us an email at wellbeing@hsdc.ac.uk and we will be prepared for when you start and have the relevant people there to meet you and ensure your transition is safe and easy. It's really important that all of our students wear lanyards when they're on campus. These will be given out at enrolment. Please support us as a college by making sure your young person wears their lanyard every time they come on site. This is a safeguarding concern and is about supporting students to stay safe. Thank you for your time this evening and I look forward to meeting yourselves or your young people during enrolment.
Great, thank you very much, Charlie, and thank you for bearing with us on the sound. So now it's time to go over for the live Q&A. So I'm going to invite back Ash and Paul. And to host the live Q&A, I'm going to hand you over to Elle, who's our marketing manager. So over to you, Elle.
Hello, thank you, Jane. Yes, I'm Elle, the marketing manager. Welcome back to Ash and Paul. We've had a few questions that have popped up over the Q&A box this evening. So the guys will be able to answer these for you. So Paul, the first question, what happens if I don't meet the entry requirements for the course I have applied to?
Yeah, thanks, Elle. So during enrolment, there'll be lots and lots of support. So you'll have, excuse the seagull outside the window, sorry. There'll be lots of support within the college during enrolment. So we have what we call program leaders. So they are the operational managers and they will be managing the areas around enrolment. So if a young person comes in and realizes they haven't got the entry requirements or haven't done as well as they hoped, it's not to worry. We've got multiple different options at multiple different levels. So what we would normally do is take each case individually and look at how the students performed across all of their subjects. Then we'd make a decision based on the entry requirements for the course, but there's lots of opportunities to talk to our careers team. Ash and I will be on each of the campuses to make any final decisions about which courses young people can go on to, depending on their entry requirements. But first thing first, it will be handled by the team locally to find out what other options there are. Most courses, if students apply at level 3, there is a level 2 option that can support the students with an additional year to gain those qualifications. But even if someone decides they've changed their mind at that point where they sit down and have a chat to the teacher and go, actually, I've done better than I hoped. Actually, I'd like to try something different, you know, that kind of stuff. Absolutely, we can support. All 3 campuses are rolling at the same time. So there's people on every campus to support, and there'll always be one of the assistant principals to kind of make a decision and to support that young person. But yeah, it's very much dealt with locally, nothing to worry about. We have a course for everybody. There will be something that you can join on. So please don't worry about that, and come along with your results, and we'll happily help you on the day to make sure you get on the right course. Thanks, Al.
Thank you, Paul. Ash, next question. What happens if I get 5 GCSEs at grade 4 or above, but don't get my English or maths at grade 4?
Okay, thanks, Al. So this varies course by course, depending on the subject. So some courses will have slots that will enable a student to sit either English or maths alongside at level 3. So that's a possibility. But we also have some areas where the numbers that we get of students that are in that position are quite large. So we have tailored level 3 courses for them. So an example, for the animal care, we run an extended diploma for students that have got both English and maths. But we also run a level 3 diploma for students that need to retake one or the other alongside. So lots of opportunity to still complete a level 3 course, even if you do need to take English or maths alongside that.
Thank you. Paul, so another question we've been asked is, will I get an in-depth tour of the college when I start?
Yep, so that's one of the things I used to love doing when I was back in the day when I was a tutor, is that always puts students at ease. So during the induction or the welcome week, also during enrollment, if anyone is really worried about the locations and stuff, we can always arrange for anyone to have a look around anything enrollment. But induction, one of the key things we'll do is the in-depth tour, is make sure that everyone knows where the key things, so where China, her team are based, but also simple things like where's the nearest toilet, where's the nearest shop that I can buy some stuff, where's the nearest cafeteria, whereabouts am I in the college. So getting the use to the kind of the central part of the college. And as I mentioned earlier, it'd be really key for everyone to get a view of our first floor. At the moment, you have to kind of, it's appointment only to get in there. Ash and I even have to get an appointment to get in there. But the new first floor is going to have a student-centered hub right in the middle with 18 classrooms down the outside. A lot of our students studying engineering, business, IT, construction, games design will be based in there. It's for part of the week. So we really want to get the students in there early. So that one of the first things they'll do on the first welcome day is find out all those key places that people's mind at risk, you know, minimize any anxiety the students will have, and they'll get to meet their peers and people who've chosen the same course as them. But yeah, properly done by the tutors who know the college inside out. But again, at enrollment, if anyone's worried, there'll always be someone that can show them where their first class is going to be and where they've got to come for the welcome week. So yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Paul. So Ash, over to you. What does the college do if a student falls behind or struggles to attend lessons?
Thanks, Al. So we have a really strong support network at the college. So obviously, like I said, you have a tutor that you're allocated. So they are the sort of first port of call if a student's struggling. But certainly what they would do is make contact with parents if needed to see what we can do to put in support for that student. We have what's called our back on track process, and that uses different stages to support a learner. So firstly, like I said, it's the tutor. But if there's still issues, or if the student's still struggling, then there's the progress mentor that can get involved and see what they can do to support. We also have study centre support so that students can drop in and get support at the study centre. And then we also run assignment workshops throughout the academic year as well. So students can go to assignment workshops to catch up on work and get support from their lecturers as well. So we have loads of support in place for students if they do fall behind or struggling. We've even had situations where you've asked the question around if students are struggling to attend lessons. We've also, for some students, come up with bespoke timetables to support their ability to pass the course. So where that's been needed, then we've been able to facilitate that as well. So loads of support that we can put in place to help learners achieve.
Great, thank you. Paul, how and when will specific support be discussed for students with additional learning needs?
Yeah, thanks, Elle. This the process will have started during the interview process. So any students who are coming from school with additional learning support needs and stuff, the process will have already started. But if this is something that hasn't been discussed and stuff, the additional support team through Debbie, who's one of our college leadership team colleagues, she'll be sorting that with her team. So there'll be opportunity to pop along and chat around whether that's around additional time during assessments, whether that's you're having any one-to-one support. This is all very bespoke for each student, and it can be tailored to each student. So the students, when they come in, with opportunity to pop and see the additional support team while we're here. But again, anything that's happened at school will normally have been kind of carried over via the team. But this can be really discreet. Students don't need to worry about that. There'll be the opportunity to go and chat in private if you wish to. But again, if this is something that you want to raise during enrolment with the tutor and stuff, if you feel that you need an assessment or there's any support we'd have in place. So that's all done. We have a dedicated additional learning support department. We have a study centre where students could go at any time to drop in and gain some support. But yes, they will all be available during the enrolment time for discussions, for chats. But as I say, a lot of it will have started through the interview process for those students who are having support. So yeah, lots of opportunities to gain some guidance.
Great, thank you, Paul. And one last question that's popped up. Do students need laptops for classes, Ash?
The short answer is no. We do try to facilitate some kinds of assessment with students online though. So students can use some phones for different types of ed tech. So that can support student assessment. We also have a purchase scheme. So if students do want to purchase a Chromebook or a laptop, then we have a purchase scheme where they can do that. And that is broken down into payments throughout the year rather than having to pay all in one go. We also have specialist PC and Mac equipment on site for the students that they can go to use. And our study centre and learning hubs also have Chromebooks, and students can go there and sign those out, and then they can complete work between lessons or at the end of their timetable day. They can go and work in the learning hub, and there's an opportunity to hire out, not hire out because you don't have to pay, but to book out Chromebooks so that they can do their coursework in those areas as well. So lots of opportunity to use the college facilities and the equipment that the college has. But if a student does want to purchase a device for their course, then we have that device purchase process that they can do that through. Okay.
If I could add as well, Elle, obviously I look after a lot of the digital and creative subjects. There's no specialist software anyone needs to buy. All the students doing creative courses, whether that be games, media, digital stuff, will have access to all of the software they need. They'll get an Adobe Creative Cloud account if they're on the creative media courses. So there's no worry that students they won't come home and tell you they need a MacBook and they need the Adobe Creative Cloud. We have all access to all of the facilities they need. And we'll advise any parents if there's any free software or any kinds of things like Unreal Engine for games design. So there's a piece of free software you can download for education. The teachers will really advise everyone on the kind of the technology they need, but there's nothing that anyone needs to worry about purchasing. The college has all of the licenses for all the specialist equipment, especially in my half of stuff, which is very much around creative and digital as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, guys. So that concludes our evening. Ash and Paul, is there anything else you would like to add before we leave?
No, hopefully we've shared information. Please keep putting stuff in the Q&A. I know the team are running through that and everything, but I say if there's any concerns around when it is, Jane will be very clear on when all enrolments are. And so you can keep the questions coming into the marketing and admissions team. But I think, yeah, Ash and I look forward to welcoming everybody and making sure we support all the students to get onto the right course and have a fantastic time here at HSDC. So that's everything from me. Thanks, Al.
Yeah, I'd just like to add good luck with your GCSE results. And if they don't go to plan, don't panic. There's a course for you here at HSDC that will support you with your next steps.
Great,
Great, thank you, Al, for hosting that, and thank you very much, Ash and Paul. So as Paul said, we're just going to keep the Zoom link running just for a couple of minutes while we clear up the Q&As, but we're all going to come off of camera and mic and just answer the Q&As just before we close this evening. So thank you very much for your time, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.